Hi, this is Sarah Nance, and this is my Module 8 case study, Get This Child Out of My Room. To start, there's a summary of the case study. Susan is a first-year special ed teacher in a rural school district named Schuyler. She is trying to fill the shoes of a former Love teacher named Mrs. Lewis. Things seem to be going pretty well in her first 6 weeks. However, one particular student named Carl is giving his classroom teacher, Mrs. Taylor, some trouble. He has already been identified as behavior disordered, and he's on an IEP in which it's reward consequence style. His behavior seems to be escalating, and Mrs. Taylor seems a little bit afraid of the student and his aggressive nature, so she wants him out of his classroom altogether. And she kind of uses Mrs. Lewis's example about pulling kids out of classes, no questions asked. So she wants the same for that. Well, Susan doesn't really feel like that's the best course of action. She develops a slightly altered IEP in which she has the option to go to the resource room that the school provides if necessary. She learns that his parents are divorced, and not obviously making the situation any better upon an evaluation for his IEP. They seem willing to sign the new IEP, but not very committed to the process, and Carl continues to spiral out of control. So to identify the problem, here's what I know as a leader. He obviously has been identified as behavior disordered coming into the school year. There is a resource room, although the case did mention that the resources at the school are a little bit limited. There is a resource room for students who need it. However, it's not really designed to be for full-time students, so that really is kind of where the issue lies. He's not currently taking any medications, although his mother did reference that in the meeting, if he should be on a similar medication to his brother. His parents are recently divorced, and their divorce is very hostile. He has 2 older siblings, both receiving similar services for emotional disorders in middle school. I also know that there are limited resources in this rural school district. His behavior seems to be escalating fairly violently in the classroom, though no clear pattern seems to exist for his outbursts, as observed by Susan. Carl, upon interviewed, cannot explain to Susan about his behavior. He shrugs his shoulders, ducks his head, doesn't want anything to do with it. But there are people who want to help the situation. She contacted the district special ed coordinator, who helped her come up with a new IEP for him. She was in contact with the superintendent, and the assistant superintendent attended the IEP meeting that they redesigned. So there's a little bit of support there, for sure. What do I still need to know? I'd like to know if there are other teachers that Carl has, if they've observed the similar behavior. Is his behavior limited to just Mrs. Taylor's classroom, or is this systemic? I would like to know what his previous teachers had to say about Carl, and did anything specifically work when he was in their charge. Has he shown physical aggression towards other students specifically? I think some of his outbursts are kind of directed towards others, but is it specific to students or teachers, or is it just everybody? I would like to know when he first got on an IEP, if this is recent or if it has been in place for a while, and what behaviors warranted it then, and how have his behaviors changed over time. I'd like to know if he'd ever been seen by a therapist outside of the school or in the school, and what those results were. And I'd also like to know if there's a mental health team as part of the resources in the school that could speak with Carl on a regular basis to help kind of manage some of his aggressive symptoms. Here's what I believe to be the problem. The IEP that is designed for Carl, despite the best efforts, continues to fail in providing for Carl as his behavior escalates. Another part of the problem is that no adult seems to be really on Carl's side or wanting to work with him. His teacher obviously wants him out of the classroom. His parents don't seem to care about the IEP. The director of special education offered her 2 cents on a phone conversation, but isn't terribly involved. The teacher wanting him removed from the classroom, to me, is not a viable option. We're just passing the problem on to somebody else, and that's not really what needs to be done. And then, of course, the other problem is that Susan has limited support and resources. She seems to be the only adult really ready to work with Carl and get him on the same page, but she needs some support and some resources in order to do that effectively. So here would be my plan of action with the strategies to go with it. First of all, I'd need to conduct a lot of research. I think this alone would help the problem. I would interview Carl's past teachers and try to learn what, if anything, helped his behavior in the past. And I would try to work those strategies into a revised IEP. Assuming that I did the research, perhaps he doesn't have any consequences for his poor behavior and only has rewards for his good behavior. I think consequences, when you assess consequences, I don't think that really motivates students to change their behavior or their attitude. I think reward-based behavior or a reward-based program would be a good way to change some behavior. I would allow him access to PE to get some of that physical activity out during the day instead of being confined to a resource room all day like his teacher seems to think he needs. I do a little tryout. I would maybe consider moving Carl to a classroom with a strong male leader who he might connect with more. That would just be a tryout to see if that would work, and perhaps a smaller class size where he can be given a little bit more individual attention rather than just being in the resource room with the only student there. Maybe just a smaller classroom setting would be more beneficial. I'd let Carl try it for a few days to see if it's a potential solution, and I'd ask him about it too. I don't think anyone really factored in his beliefs about the situation either. It seems like Susan interviewed him, but not about what he wants and what he thinks he needs. I'd obviously try to reach out. That would be my plan of action. I would get the director of special ed more involved, more so than just a phone conversation. I'd think about a referral for outside school counseling from a mental health team. I would try to talk to Carl's pediatrician about treatment for depression, anxiety, or aggression, try to get to the root of the problem. And I would definitely want to meet with Carl's parents, but I would consider meeting with them individually since when they're together, they're not really thinking of Carl. So, to resolve the issue based on what's best for all students, I would keep Carl in the general ed classroom. Again, I would consider moving him to a male teacher. I would encourage him more. The case did not really talk about that. I would talk to him, make him feel like he has a say too, find a passion that he has that he can express in the classroom, whether that's art or music or physical activity. I would reward good behavior and not punish bad behavior. And again, access to physical activity each day might be beneficial for Carl. But I need to consult outside resources for that for sure. Finding an appropriate outside of school therapist referred by the pediatrician to create a team to help Carl's behavior. So it's not isolated to school, but it actually changes kind of his mentality through, not just in school, but overall. I am hesitant to medicate, but this is an option, as his mother suggested, and the teachers suggested talking to the pediatrician about too. I would maintain his current IEP until a reevaluation, so he would have a male escort to a resource room when his behavior becomes unmanageable. I thought that was a nice step in his IEP's progress. Upon the reevaluation, I would conduct the meeting with his parents individually, and probably his mom first, since she seems to have the majority of custody. I would want to restore the relationship with Mrs. Taylor, between Mrs. Taylor and Susan. I have to remind her that we have to do what's best for all students, including Carl. She was thinking of her other students and herself, and not necessarily Carl, but he's part of her classroom too. Removal from the classroom doesn't help Carl, nor does it honor that commitment that we have to a least restrictive environment. I would want to acknowledge that she was thinking of the safety of the other students and obviously herself, but remind her that we do need to think about Carl too and what's best for him. I think that given this case study, that it shows clearly that we need to recommit to some professional development. The staff obviously needs support with how to best handle individual situations, because a lot of general education teachers have these issues in their own classrooms. So we have to avoid negligence, we have to remember FAPE, and we have to remember other laws and policies that we've committed to that need to be followed, including student rights and parent rights as well. So upon reflection, here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that Susan seems to be the only true advocate for Carl, unfortunately, and that we needed to look to the underlying cause for Carl's behavior and plan accordingly. We also, overall, I was thinking that we just need more support for Carl. We need support from his pediatrician, from an outside counselor, from an in-school counselor, and other district resources that could provide for him. I was feeling kind of sad for Carl, that he was kind of left out of the conversation. All these adults are making decisions around him without really getting to the root of what his issue is. I feel sad for him because of his parents' divorce and that he's struggling emotionally because of it. I feel like Mrs. Taylor was attacking Susan fairly unfairly because Susan didn't want to do it her way. She wanted to do it the old way, the Mrs. Lewis way, which is you just pull a kid out of the classroom. And I think that's not necessarily a good idea. So I was kind of angry as Mrs. Taylor wasn't being more understanding, and I was defensive of Mrs. Taylor at the same time because a lot of teachers have been in this situation when you're just at your wits' end and you just want the kid out. As a teacher, I absolutely understand that perspective, and I've been there. We all have been there, where that you think would be the best decision. I was feeling that Susan acted on Carl's behalf. She might have been the only adult advocate, although the problem continued. And I felt that teachers just kind of need a better understanding of the IEP process. We can't just take a kid out of the classroom because his or her needs change or their emotions change. That we have to understand the whole process includes parents, and it includes a team, really. We can't just pull a kid out of a classroom because it suits our needs for that day. What I was valuing was the student first, what was going to work best for Carl, not Mrs. Taylor, what would work best for her, not what would work best for mom or dad, but what would work best for Carl. I also value getting to the root of the problem, not just spot treating the issue. Getting to the root of the problem is systemically going to change the future for the student. And I was valuing the need for continued staff professional development on the IEP process and how we can best serve our SPED students. Unresolved issues, what's open to further investigation? Will a male teacher be more effective? Does physical activity act as an outlet for Carl, or will it increase his aggression? These are just further questions. What would outside counseling help Carl with? Would his parents be willing to work with the school a little bit more in depth, or hire an outside counselor? And then open to further investigation is, how is this relationship between Mrs. Taylor and Susan going to continue given Carl Hughes's case here? So thinking about standard 2, provide evidence that you as an educational leader promote the academic success and personal well-being of every student by enhancing instructional capacity. I isolated the 2 questions. I'll go ahead and just read these. They're a little bit harder to read, so I'll kind of take you through it. So how did I promote the academic success of every student by enhancing instructional capacity? So the ultimate goal is that Carl and his peers have access to an appropriate education. By determining the least restrictive environment that would best support Carl and his peers, I'm encouraging a better experience for everyone. So after I conducted some research, maybe it's determined that he works best in a classroom led by a male. That's an easy switch to make while still keeping him included into general ed classes. So I'm promoting the academic success of him and other students because it's just an easy switch to make, and we can ensure that he has access to that education that he deserves. And as far as promoting his personal well-being, it's obvious that Carl needs a break emotionally occasionally. So there's a plan in place as created by his stakeholders for what to do when Carl has an outburst, including a timeout in the school's resource room and access to physical activity. Clearly, he has some mental health issues, some anger issues, some violence that he's showing that need a resolution. And I think it's in his best interest that he seeks help from a trained counselor to get to the root of his aggression, so that we can treat it from him, not just spot treat it. As a leader, I'm suggesting that we help solve the problem, not just treat the issue, by seeking those outside resources and that instructional capacity that can be enhanced, of course. That is all I have for my Module 8 case study. Thanks so much for watching.